Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, May 28th, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Child abuse activist and author Sherilyn Gajada has called for the society to play a more active role in stamping out instances of child abuse. Gajada, Trinidadian national, who was in SVG for a seminar on child abuse last weekend, told SVG-TV's Nikita Tony that too much dependence is being placed on government to take the lead in eradicating the problem. We hear more in this report.
For many years, there has been a global outcry against child abuse. Right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, recent incidents of child sexual abuse have sparked fury within a number of communities, as residents have called for stricter penalties for perpetrators. Trinidad author and activist Sherilyn Gajada has taken up the mantle and has published a line of books geared towards sensitizing readers about the impacts of child abuse, how it can be detected, and how they can support victims. Gajada, who herself was a victim of child abuse, explained the trauma that abused children can experience.
Started developing, a low self-esteem. I became depressed. I became oppressed. And when this happens, the child is most likely to become suicidal. If not, taken by the root, quickly, that child can self-destruct. Because then the child is now vulnerable. The child also blames his or herself, it's my fault, and the children need to know that when these things happen, this chronic ill of abuse, happens to them, sexual abuse, it is not their fault. They are not to blame.
Gajada deemed the community as the perfect support system for victims of child abuse.
The government can do more, yes, but the community also need to come together. Counsel the child, get that professional help for the child, be an ear, and try to listen. Don't try to put words into the child's mouth, but be that ear and be that listening ear and listen to the child. Social workers to come in, even the social workers should be able to come into the home and visit the child, visit the children, even visit the parents, because sometimes a parent is being abused and they put that down onto the children. They have never been healed, they never have no counseling or has gone through any form of therapy.
She made a special appeal for religious organizations to become more actively involved in the fight against child abuse.
I believe that the church should, some of the churches open your doors. I say open your doors, and have little, groups. You have groups like Bad Touch, Good Touch, encourage the people to come in, open your doors so that, you have programs set aside, so people could learn, because really and truly the answer is within us.
The author said she was able to use her writing as therapy and took the opportunity to encourage the public to make use of the information in her books.
To come through the tricky situations that they're facing, sexual abuse, the internet, bullying, child trafficking. It speaks about the good touch, it speaks about the bad touch. And I believe that the government, curriculum, not only in St. Vincent, in the Caribbean, need to have these books into the hands of the children. It comes with this manual here that the parents, teachers, social workers can work together with the child, because we don't always know everything. Children are special, and we need to know that God made each and every one in his own image and likeness, and there is purpose. For us, no matter what, there is purpose.
Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
Persons wishing to work with the elderly as part of the government's home care program have been challenged to do their best to help those they wish to serve. Former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Reconciliation, Sandra Davis, issued this challenge as she spoke at a workshop today geared towards providing training to those wishing to work with senior citizens. Davis, whose work was instrumental in the creation of the home care program for the elderly, said, while there were persons who served with distinction in the past, there are too many today who possess a bad attitude, and she encouraged the participants to give of their best.
tell you that today, this is not a job. This is not a job as a paying job only. This is a gift that you have to have. And I say, if you don't love yourself, you cannot love others. And if you are doing the job, you have to work for it. We need change of attitude. And maybe your group can change the attitude of a lot of persons that are working. Right now, we don't have the right attitude. We have the lackadaisical attitude about what we do and a don't care attitude.
Davis reminded the participants that they too may get old and need assistance, and urged them to work in such a way to ensure the continuity of the program.
You have to do your best. And I just want to remind you that we are how much sitting down here? If we have 60 people sitting here, we have 1,000 out there who would willingly replace you in a wink of an eye. So sisters, let us make the best of it. Let us go back to that rejoicing that you had this morning in the choruses. And remember that we are doing this for ourselves. We're not doing it for nobody else but ourselves, because old age would come to all of us is something that we cannot hide from. All of us. And you and me might need this kind of assistance. So if you do your best, it will continue. I hope that you have a very rewarding training session and a good day.
Meanwhile, Minister of National Mobilization Frederick Stevenson said the government is examining ways to have the home care providers regionally certified, thus increasing their employment possibilities.
Go out there, you have your certificate to show. And not only the government can employ all the home care providers, but the private individuals throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the private care homes, can also take you on because you're certified. And it is the intention of the ministry in the not too distant future to have these certificates recognized as part of the TVET education program, so that you can leave St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a proper and competent certificate and go anywhere in CARICOM region and get an employment, get a job as a home care provider with this particular certificate that it is hopeful that we would give as we work along with the Ministry of Education.
Dr. Gerald Thompson has expressed concern over activities which are causing harm to the ecosystem of the mangrove forest in Brighton, such as the cutting of mangrove trees for various purposes. The medical doctor, who is the chairman of the Brighton Mangrove Conservation Foundation, urged persons to leave the trees alone.
Not only will these trees produce food, but also these trees will also help to extract CO2 from the atmosphere and help in our own small island combat these climate change and greenhouse gases. But I am particularly concerned that persons have been coming to the mangrove and cutting down some of the mangrove trees, cutting down some of the branches to make broomstick, and we want persons to desist from doing this because it is not helping. And we are intent on really protecting this coastal forest. We've actually expanded it by an acre, planting new mangrove trees, and we hope to continue to do that so as that this forest is going to be a perpetual forest. It will never die.
Dr. Thompson also made a link between the importance of the mangrove forest and the human body.
We feature here a number of herbal plants. Not just seed on the leaf and body me eye and part of man life, but kudra root and blue flower and lemongrass and all different types of teas and so that can be made. And people used to drink these things long ago. But we're now after fast food. That's high content of sugar, added sugar. And that's why we're seeing such a massive growth in cancer, high blood pressure and diabetes. And I feel if persons start back eating some more of the natural vegetables that their parents once used to do, we will be able to curtail a number of these illnesses.
An environmental educator at the Sustainable Development Unit has said tours to areas which have a diverse ecosystem perfectly marries theory with practical experience. Nyasha Hamilton was speaking with SVG-TV News on Thursday as members of the Sustainable Development Unit and the Ministry of Tourism visited the mangrove forest in Brighton to gain a better understanding of the diverse floral and fauna found in SVG. Hamilton said lectures done at various sites visited by Dr. Gerald Thompson on the unique ecosystem of the mangrove forest reinforces their appreciation for their natural environment.
Brings it closer home to them because you have living examples, and when you have somebody such as Dr. Thompson giving them a lecture which is, I mean, of similar content to what we give them but a different perspective, and as somebody doing the actual work, I think it brings it closer. It marries the theory with the practical for them, so they can see that it's not just somebody talking at them and saying this is something that you could do or this is an important thing, especially with biodiversity. When you're trying to explain to them the importance of having various species of plants and animals and the importance to the environment around you, even to you as a human being, that it's important to have a variety of plant and animal species. And I think that we would have done some of that today. I mean, obviously we would need more of this sort of thing to kind of, you've planted the seed, so now you need to give more and more information and hope that people would have retained some of what they learned and heard today.
Meanwhile, a member of the Environmental Touring Party shared with SVG-TV News what they found to be of most interest.
Tourism is another area, another avenue, that we can explore. And as in terms of the persons realizing that planting small gardens is simple. You don't need a big acre, because you notice in the section, that was the tea section. I never knew you could make jasmine tea. But there are so many natural things that we could use to make tea that help to boost our immune system, and that was the highlight for me, because you learned of different plants that you see around, different fruits, but you didn't know of the health benefits that they have and they possess. So at least that's a good takeaway for today.
And it was about the sapodilla trees. Yes. Apparently the sapodillas were the origin of chewing gum. I had no idea that that was the story behind it, and yeah, I thought that was interesting. Who knows how many other interesting species of plants that we have here that could, start a whole new industry. So I thought that was cool.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has described the election victory of the Barbados Labour Party, the BLP, as an overwhelming historic defeat over the Democratic Labour Party. Extending congratulations to the winning BLP, he said the leadership of Prime Minister Mia Mottley during and before the election campaign was exceptional.
Of course, her leadership throughout the last few years, and I look forward to working with her in the interest of both our countries and several bilateral and multilateral issues, and to work in several regional, hemispheric and international fora. At the same time, I want to thank outgoing Prime Minister Frondell Stewart for his contribution to the region.
The Prime Minister said he was closely following the elections and described the collapse of the votes of the Democratic Labour Party led by Frondell Stewart as extraordinary.
This is a major party, got 24% of the vote. It's just extraordinary. The Barbados Labour Party has gotten in excess of 70% of the vote. 73–74% of the popular vote. It is the largest margin ever in Barbados, and I don't know if there's ever been another margin larger than that one in a competitive general elections in this region. One will have to research that, but it is just huge. The Barbados Labour Party clearly has a challenge without an opposition, and with the difficulties economy and some particular problems. And
Former Prime Minister and former leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, Sir James Mitchell, has extended congratulations to the newly elected Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, describing her as a friend and a great woman. Sir James commented on the landslide election victory of the Barbados Labour Party on Boom FM this morning.
You realize she has been in the trenches, she worked very hard. She was first elected since 1991, and she was in the opposition. She was a minister before. She has a great career. She was the youngest person in Barbados. We made a QC and a very young minister. And she has performed well, and people know her all over the Caribbean that she has done some legal work in St. Kitts and elsewhere. So Barbados, I would say, is in good hands, and I wish her all the best.
Speaking on the challenges ahead for Mottley's government, Sir James said, like many Caribbean countries, tourism and agriculture cannot solve all of their economic woes, and that the BLP administration will have to find other ways to bring Barbados's debt under control, including engaging the youth who are today more technologically driven.
I think Barbados has some outstanding bills to be paid within a few weeks. And the foreign exchange in Barbados has pretty well collapsed. You know, Bing, it is not just how much money comes into a country's revenue and into the treasury. What matters is the expenditure. Are you wasting the money? Are you giving priorities to the expenditure so that the economy will grow? Well, Mia has a good sense of all of that. I think Barbados needs massive tourism investment if it is going to lead in the development of this region and to recover the problems in Barbados.
Commenting on why he believes the voters in Barbados gave Mottley and her team such a resounding victory, Sir James said from his understanding, the former Prime Minister Frondell Stewart and his team lost touch with the people of Barbados.
First of all, when you lose like that, it tells you clearly and unambiguously bad leadership. You cannot put another more clear definition than bad leadership. Bad leadership is not only a matter of personality, it's a matter of policies, it's a matter of getting things done. On the basis, first of all, when you're in government, number one is performance. Then the question of the elections. I think Stewart made some fundamental mistakes in calling his elections. First of all, the date. It was bad timing. I think Stewart did not make a good choice. And he, of course, his ministers and all of them too, collapsed. I've never seen such a total collapse. I mean, it is a historic record. I don't believe there will be ever a win as strong as in the change that took place in Barbados.
The opposition New Democratic Party hosted its conference of delegates last Sunday, which was phase one of its national convention, slated for this coming Sunday, June 2nd, at the Greg's Primary School. The conference of delegates was held at Democrat House, the party's headquarters in Kingstown, under the theme, One Nation, One People, One Vinci. The conference of delegates, which was a closed session, was attended by constituency delegates and members of the Central Committee. The conference agenda included reports from the party chairman, Daniel Cummings, Secretary General Tyrone James, President Dr. Godwin Friday. Delegates also dealt with constitutional amendments, which created the new position of Deputy Chair and elected officers to the executive. The new executive is President Dr. Godwin Friday, Chair Daniel Cummings, Deputy Chair Glenford Stewart, Vice Presidents Major Sinclair Leacock and Roland Matthews, Secretary General Tyrone James, Assistant Secretary Doris McIntosh, who replaces Margaret London, Public Relations Officer Lavon King, and Treasurer Horace Williams, who replaces Dr. Bernard Mills. Kind of a Beat is coming up with the first part of our series. Welcome back and welcome to Carnival Beat. A new queen will be crowned on Saturday as the Beauty Shows Committee within the Carnival Development Corporation hosts the Miss SVG 2018 pageant. 7 young ladies will be vying for this year's title and are all finalizing their presentations for the show. During this week, SVG-TV's Nikita Tony will be interacting with the contestants as they share just how they've been preparing for the upcoming event. We now bring you the first feature in the series.
5 days to go before the staging of this year's Miss SVG pageant, the 7 contestants are busy putting the final touches to their presentations. In tonight's feature, we hear from contestant number 3, Miss Metrocent General Insurance Limited, Nazira Graham, and Miss Musty Company Limited, Chrision Morgan, contestant number 5, who share with us a bit of their experiences preparing for the pageant. What began as a promise to her mom has turned into reality for 21-year-old Nazira Graham, who acknowledged that while the journey is not what she expected, it has been very fruitful.
At the age of 7, that I would fulfill all her dreams that she didn't manage to, so she would have a chance to live her dreams through me, and that was one of hers. So this is one of the reasons why I got that little push to enter Miss SVG 2018. It's not about dressing up, looking pretty and just being a role model. It's about self-development, and me coming into the show being a little reserved, I can see like through this journey I'm more outspoken, I'm more open and outgoing as well. Graham spoke about her awareness topic in the 2018 Shenton Coffee Farms Empowerment Campaign. My empowerment theme, Women in Business. As you see, I'm 21 years old and I have started my ACCA about 2 years. Accounting is known for a male-dominated profession, and that didn't stop me from pursuing it because I had a passion for it. A lot of women are being rejected not because of their performance but just because of their gender, and I want to appeal to all the women out there. Go for it. Explore your options. Don't let anything or anyone deter you from reaching that particular goal set, and always apply consistency. So you can't do it one day and rest for the other day. Keep working at it and you will definitely reap the benefits. And I always say the rewards is much greater than the battle. Expressing gratitude to all her supporters, Graham is confident that she will perform well come pageant night. The only thing that I must say that it's kind of my weakest point is the interview, because as I said earlier, I'm not an outspoken person, but I've been working on it since January, and I know that on the night of June 2nd I would be ready. A support team at home, they go crazy. They'll be rehearsing with me and they're not the one going into the show. So I could say that I feel real welcome, and I want to thank everyone who has contributed to that. Out, support the 7 of us and witness the starting of a new journey, a new life, and enjoy the best ever staging of Miss SVG 2018. Our next chat was with contestant number 5, Miss Musty Company Limited, Chrision Morgan, who explained that she was never much of a pageant fanatic. She, however, said that she is indeed pleased about her experience thus far.
I was more interested as she grew up with Nicole Hathaway and she just enjoyed pageantry. So it was always her dream for me to enter, but the idea didn't really settle in until a few years ago when I realized, hey, I can get a scholarship to go to university. I mean, I can give this a shot. Never really had to. I've never been the type to, you know, dress up and walk in heels and all this stuff. And a part of training is, you know, the way we carry ourselves in public, and stage training for swimwear, I think, which has been the most difficult adjustment for me, but I'm really grateful for the experience.
Morgan said her empowerment campaign springs from her firm belief that persons can be more empowered once they take their education seriously.
But that education is the gateway out of poverty, and with the right mental attitude and knowledge, we can do amazing things. I believe that we don't take education seriously enough as young people. Pursue our passions through education. So if we want to become a baker, we can do a 4-week course in baking technology. Just getting the knowledge to put you on the right path for the career that you want to get into.
As she prepares to take the stage this Saturday night, Morgan said she has confidence about what she and the other 6 contestants have to offer.
I think I'm prepared for all segments, but I'm most excited for the public to see talent. So talent is what I'm most looking forward to. So I think people could expect a show or a performance with a difference and with a lot of meaning behind it. June 2nd, Victoria Park. 7 beautiful and intelligent ladies would vie for the title of Miss SVG 2018. I would like to invite all of you to come out to show your support to all 7 of us.
The Miss SVG pageant is slated for this Saturday, June 2nd at Carnival City, Victoria Park. Nikita Tony reporting for Carnival Beat.
An event where mass meets soca. That's the tagline for the Carnival Bands Association CBA Ignite show held last Saturday, May 26th at the Victoria Park. Formerly known as the CBA's Carnival Blaster, the show serves as collective launch of all mass bands that would be competing in Vincy Mass. This year's event featured 13 of the 15 mass bands accompanied by various soca and raga soca artists as they paraded sections and individuals' costumes before a small yet appreciative crowd. The CBA also presented awards to the winners in its inaugural secondary school's costume art design competition. Of the 100 students who submitted entries, the 5 finalists, who are all students of the St. Vincent Grammar School, were presented with plaques. The finalists in that order were Matthew Washington first, Javonte Straker second, Mickey Lee third, Eroy John fourth, and Malik John fifth. The school also received the Challenge Cup and a printer, and Solomon Bascom was presented with the St. Vincent National Trust People's Choice Award. The award for the most outstanding costume design went to Angela Strauss of the St. Joseph's Convent, Mariacoa. The High Voltage Mass Band is inviting persons to take a voyage around the world in their 2018 mass production titled Exotic Beaches. In an interview with SVGTV's Nikita Tony, band leader Kingsley Collis says he hopes to not only entertain his masqueraders, but also educate them about the uniqueness of the 10 beaches which they are portraying.
16 years, the Metro St. High Voltage Mass Band has been not only entertaining masqueraders, but educating them. And for this year, they promise to do the same as they present Exotic Beaches for Vincy Mass 2018.
Collis said the band, which placed 4th in the Band of the Year competition last year, will be aiming for improved results as they portray an array of beautiful beaches from around the world.
Yes, beach in the wall, but I just didn't cater to St. Vincent and the Grenadines alone. So I went as far as from Australia, the whitest sand in the wall. They say when you walk on that sand, it's like you're on clouds. It's how it's white, it's whitest sand in the wall. To as far up to Alaska, where the sand there is grey. It actually mean, part of the meaning is rare and beautiful. So hence the reason for these selections. So, and the band is mainly based around the sand.
Like all other small bands, Collis emphasized the need to have more sponsors coming on board to ensure that the Vincy Mass product continues to grow.
I mean of that our financial institutes start to have carnival loans and be associated with the band, not just offer it because you could offer it and piggyback off a carnival itself, but be a part of a band. People come together and make up their mind and be a part of the season. And everything will be circulating properly. For it to be a part of any mass band, not only just Metro St. High Voltage, but they have 14 other bands there as well too. So be on board, be on board.
With his junior production almost out of the way, Collis expressed confidence that the High Voltage Mass Band will be ready for Vincy Mass 2018.
We're not the party band, we are the traditional band. If you're looking for a traditional costume, you come here. If you're looking for a costume, we have a sense of meaning, and a sense of education. You want to learn something as well and enjoy yourself, you come here. You understand? If you want to compete in a competition, you come here. If you want to be a part of something, have a meaning behind of it, you come here. Metrocent high voltage. We have 10 sections that you choose from. You know, 2 kiddies and 8 adult costumes. And we are located Lower Bay Street, opposite Gibson, in between Couriers and Beckles. You know, we are right here. You could contact me at 593-7117. That's 593-7117. We here 24/7.
With some 10 beautiful sections, the Metrocent High Voltage Mass Band invites you to take a walk on the beach for Vincy Mass 2018. Reporting for Carnival Beats, I am Nikita Tony.